Well, there she is, the woman of the moment. Yes, Beatrice Chebet, double Olympic champion last year in Paris at 5,000 and 10,000 metres. We saw her win an incredible 3,000 metres, close to the world record in Rabat a month or so back. She's super consistent, strong and fast. Starts here as a strong favourite. She won the Diamond League final 5,000 metres last year at the end of last season. But it is a big field. There are 24 starters here. This has been touted as a world record attempt. Could be the first sub-14-minute world record. The world record is 14:00.21 by Gudaf Segai. Now, Segai also goes in this field, but we don't think her form has been nearly as good as that of Chebet, and she may not be a challenger in this attempt to break her world record. She holds the world record of 1,500 indoors as well as Segai, but this is all about Chebet. At 8:11 she ran in Rabat a month or so back. Was quite supreme, and I think many people believe there's a high chance of this world record going now. They need, let me just put it in perspective for you, if she's going to run 14 minutes exactly, that would be a world record. It'd be lovely to see the 14-minute barrier broken. They need kilometres of 2:48, which is 67.2 per lap. There are pace lights out there. The green lights will be moving around at 13:57 tempo, just 2 or 3 seconds inside world record pace. And the early pacemaker, Klaudia Kazimierska of Poland, who's a 15-minute performer herself at her best. She's hoping to go out here for maybe 3 or 4 laps at the front end and set this up nicely. But conditions are good, Steve. I just have a bit of a concern about the wind. There's quite a breeze around the arena. It's gusting, isn't it? It's hard to say that it's consistent.
Yeah, exactly. The flags keep dropping and then they pick up again, and it's really this section here where they're a little bit exposed. The new Hayward Field, it has a huge scoreboard at the bottom end, but it still allows the wind in down the back straight. It's definitely more of a crosswind. And I think that's going to be the issue here for Chebet as to whether or not. I mean, Segai knows no different. You mentioned, and I think rightly, that I'm not sure she's going to be able to stay with it, but she will go with the pace because that's what she knows, that's what she does. I think the others to watch out for, you've got Beatrice, the Kenyan, who's been in such great form this year. She's about 5th or 6th place at the moment. Young Asa, I mean, I think she is developing into another great young talent from Ethiopia, not at the level yet of Chebet, maybe even of Segai yet, but she'll enjoy the hard pace as well. And it's decisions that have to be made for those athletes behind, because Chebet's pace is so fast. How long do you try to go with that, or do you just check back a bit?
Well, they got through 600 metres there, and 68.4, already a little bit outside the steady tempo we need. Now, we do know that Chebet is capable of producing very, very quick finishes. Her last 400 or 600, she can make up for quite a few seconds slackening with that closing speed, but they just need to stay on schedule here. They really can't afford for this first kilometre to be much outside about 2:50, as I say. World record tempo is 2:48 per kilometre. There's Chebet in 3rd place. The world record holder at the moment, Gudaf Segai there in 4th. And behind her, the tall figure of Negetic, the tall figure in red. And then Asa, the second athlete in red, there in 6th place, is the shorter of the two. World under 20 5,000 champion back in 2022. And then she came back last year and retained that title. She's still only 20. That is rare. And these 7 beginning to ease away. The pace is healthy. They are shifting here. And this is the first kilometre. We wanted about 2:47.07 it is. We wanted 2:48, so that is pretty much perfect. They picked it up the last 400. Well, it's been set up wonderfully here by Kazimierska. Just over 3.5 laps done of the 12.5 laps in this women's 5,000 metres. 6 athletes there in the slipstream of Kazimierska, the Polish pacemaker, who's done a great job. Remember the first kilometre, just a click outside 2:47, so on world record tempo. Chebet will be more than happy to take up the running. She's not scared to front run. She's a tiny, tiny character, but a fierce racer. Right behind her, matching her every stride, is the reigning world champion Gudaf Segai of Ethiopia. And then the tall figure in red in 4th place. That is Agnes Chebet. Negetic, I have her down perhaps as joint favourite in this one. Certainly an athlete who can give a Chebet a good run for her money here. Old world record for 10 kilometres on the road from last year. The women's only world record for 10,000 metres as well, she said earlier on this year, back in April. So the second pacemaker moving along nicely at the moment. That is Dorcas Iwoy. If he can keep this pace at the same sort of tempo as that first kilometre, Steve, then it really will be on.
Yeah, they're looking for around about 5:35 through 2K. You're right. I mean, I'm just interested in the others have gone with it. Okay, so the back is trying to hang on. I mean, you remember the Chebet and Sigai did this one of the races for the ages at this World Championships on this track in 2022, when everyone thought Sigai would outkick at the end, which he did just manage to. But Chebet's just got just got a stumble there, Tim. 2:48 for that kilometre, but spot on 5:35. But Chebet now is away. So Sigai, for me, you're right about Gatic. I think probably will be the stronger here. Sigai will hang in and hang in and hang in for as long as she can, and then what tends to happen is she just then disappears.
Yeah, she tends to hit the wall, doesn't she? Almost marathon style. Yeah, she'll run herself into the ground long before the finish, but maybe she'll get it right here today. Of course, she's in a race where her own world record is being attacked by the athlete in front of her, Chebet, that is leading Sigai. And then Gatic in third place. She will want to use her strength in the last kilometre, I'd have thought, as we begin to reach mid-race in this 5,000. Well, it's going to scripts so far as we expected. Chebet, the Olympic champion at 5,000 and 10,000 metres from last year, leads down the back straight. They go through there with half a lap to go until the 3,000 metre point. The big three are away. Chebet leading, the current world record holder, Guraf Sigai, 28 years old now. Sigai, fabulous 1500 speed. She's the reigning world champion at 10,000 metres, by the way. One in Budapest back in 2023, over 25 laps. So she has plenty of strength and speed. And then Gatic back in third place, the Tortug in red. Will be entering uncharted territory here, frankly. Her best on the track, 14 minutes 25. So I wonder how long she can hang on in this, Steve. She can use that strength over the last 2 or 3 laps.
Well, they're spot on, Tim. This is heading for 14 minutes, and this is the hard bit. This is the 4th K. And Chebet is laying herself out there to, well, be got at if they can, but that's another thing. She's taking the pace, she's taking the win, she's running a world record pace, but she's still got Sigai, as you mentioned, and Gatic still sitting there. And Gatic can kick, you know, might not be in the same league as Sigai at her best, and Chebet, who can also kick hard as well. But the three of them locked together here, and it's Chebet doing all of this work at the front. She's trusting herself, backing herself, that she can run the legs off the other two. But as each lap goes by and they're still there, that's got to just equate your confidence a little bit, hasn't it? Surely. The legs are moving away from them for the first time.
I guess so, but distance running, when you're if you take on the task of front running, and that's her, she's volunteered for this, you've just got to be confident that you are hurting those behind you. You've got to be patient. You've got to say, this is hurting them. It'll come. It'll come. And I think that's what she's doing. I don't think her confidence is weakening here. 68.98 there. That lap a bit slow. I think that's the slowest lap of the race. They went through 3,000 in a very quick 8:22. There's not many athletes around on the global scene who can run that quick for 3,000 alone. Never mind about with another 5 laps to go. But down the back straight, Chebet here will just keep rattling away these laps and trying to tire the two behind her. And she has got great finishing speed. I think that's what she brings to the table, Steve, Chebet. That enormous strength, wonderful racing now, and great finishing speed. And that is kind of the magical trio.
It is, but you know, and she is, as you said, she's a great winner, knows how to win on the biggest stages. But you know, when you go out for something like this, you're not going to get it without committing. Just get a sense there, Tim, as she went through there, a little bit of a lift, because you could probably hear them how close they are. Sigai's, we talk about running inside legs and outside legs. You know, because when you're in a line like this, you don't want to clip the person in front. And Gatic has been very careful not to clip Sigai. Sigai's running in on the inside, as it were, the legs of Chebet. Chebet's just in the middle of the lane. You can see there, doesn't want to give anyone a hint that it can move out. But another 69, Tim, you're right. Slow lap before, again another one. Is this the gathering storm, though, for the last 2-3 laps?
Well, I think it is Chebet perhaps slowing it on purpose. She's probably thinking, well, I want to save something for my finish. I'm going to just wind it down a little bit here, get myself ready. Might psychologically gather yourself for the kick as much as physically get yourself ready. Although Segai running better here than many might have expected. That third kilometre, by the way, was a 2:47, so spot on, but it slowed this last couple of laps. Nigetic looking somewhat menacingly comfortable there in third place, I reckon. They're looking for 11:10 at 4K, and we got 11:14, so it was a little off schedule, but they can wind it up, Steve, these last couple of laps.
Yeah, 100%, Tim. That was based on a 13:58 at either pace, so they're a bit off that. We know that because the lights are now a good 20 metres ahead of them. But we know how much Chebet can lift it, and Segai, and Gatic maybe just looking as though this is hard work. It's a phenomenal run from Gatic, given that she's never been anywhere near this territory before. I just wonder whether Segai now starting to think, yeah, I've got a chance here. And again, let's think back to that race here at the World Championships in 2022, where the two of them coming down the home straight locked together. We could be heading for that.
A lap and 3/4 to go, then down the back straight. These three, you could throw a blanket over them. The rest of the field, 150 metres behind. This is about these three. Don't let's forget that Segai, Gudaf Segai in the middle there of this trio, is the world record holder indoors for 1500 metres. Remarkable 3:53 back in 2021. And Getic is the strong athlete here. I thought she might have pushed on now. Maybe she's hanging on there in that red strip. Maybe she's hanging on by her fingernails. As Chebet surely is thinking here, computing when to go, how to run this last 500 metres. They come into the home straight for the penultimate time. Chebet still looking pretty comfortable to me, up on her toes, galloping along. Segai looks comfortable too, because they have slowed this last 3 or 4 laps, there's no doubt about it. But how quick is this final lap going to be? They go through the bell there. That lap was a 68.4, and they still haven't really put on the acceleration.
So 64, Tim, for the last lap. They can do that. Chebet can do that. Just how tired is she? And you can see the gap just beginning to develop to Gatic. Segai very, very dangerous though.
And Getic, the least experienced of the three, just beginning to struggle now as Chebet winds it up with 250 to run. The back straight for the final time. The crowd loving this. They're a mature distance running audience here at Hayward Field. And into the last 200 metres. Chebet now leading into the bend, and look at that change of pace. Is this going to be a 64? And Steve mentioned Segai hitting the wall psychologically and physically, and she's done just that, because Chebet has destroyed her there with that acceleration just inside the last 200. She comes into the straight now. Watch the clock. We're looking for the 14-minute barrier to be broken. 9 seconds to go. 8, 7. Surely she's going to get there. It's going to be mighty tight, but she has indeed smashed the world record. 13:58. The 14-minute barrier has gone. The world record of Gudaf Segai, who collapsed psychologically with 150 metres to run, has been taken apart here. And that final lap, well, it has to have been around 61.5, 62 seconds. Quite astonishing running from Beatrice Chebet, and she controlled the race. As it turns out, she was Pied Pipering it. She looked so comfortable through the middle and latter stages. We thought maybe she was tiring, but Steve, she had it under full control.
Yeah, when she saw 64 at the bell, but this is where she kicks. Oh, I'd love to just spend 5 minutes in Gudaf Segai's head. What is going on there? You know, she just stops. You've only got 200 to go. You might not win, but she would have run quicker than she's ever run before, because she's following home the woman who's obliterated the world record, genuinely so, in a good race. That's what I love. I love world records in a great race. It was all in doubt until the last 200 metres, and hats off to Chebet. She's tiny in terms of her physical stature, but goodness me, she knows how to put in the big performances, and she's done another one here. She's in I guess all athletes love to be in the best place in their careers, and she's right there right now.
The first world record of the day then, maybe a couple more to come. That's the big hope of the organisers. Beatrice Chebet, 13:58. The 14-minute barrier has been broken on the track at last. It's already been broken on the roads. Other reasons for that. Nigetic in second place becomes the third fastest athlete in history. But Gudaf Segai will not want to watch a replay of that one. The world champion here over 5,000 back in 2022. The world record holder until a couple of minutes ago, but totally destroyed psychologically and physically eventually by Chebet there on the final bend. What a run.